I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I will present a little bit of information about Linfield, and any questions that you have at the end, please feel free to ask. I really hope I'm not a scary person and you feel comfortable asking me your questions, whether they be about life on campus, finances, visas to the United States, all of that fun stuff. Please feel free to ask. I will answer whatever questions I am able to, and if I don't know the answer, I will hunt it down for you and send it to you later on. Because I do not know everything. I will freely admit this. So, I am from Linfield University, and Linfield University is a small university in Oregon. We have about 1,250 or to 1,500 people on campus. So in comparison to your university, I think this is pretty small. What this means is our class sizes are between, usually they're around 14 people, but you could be in a class with 3 other people. The biggest classes get to around 35 to 40 people. So they're pretty small classes, which allow for a lot of interaction with the professors and with the other students. That's one reason a lot of students like Linfield is it's hard to be ignored. It's hard to get lost. Everybody knows each other. The faculty will check on you if you don't come to class to make sure that you're doing all right. That being said, it's also very hard to get away with sleeping in the back of class. They will notice you on that. So just a heads up on that. We are in Oregon. So I don't know how many of you have been to the US or know about the US. Oregon isn't the most famous, but it is a beautiful state. We are north of California, where San Francisco, Los Angeles is, and we're south of Washington, where Seattle, Microsoft is. We are on the western part of Oregon, which is beautiful if you like trees and greenery. We are about an hour and a half away from the Pacific Ocean and about an hour and a half away from the mountains, where if you are a skier or a snowboarder, that is one of the best places to go. I think very similar to Chile, Oregonians love being outdoors. We love hiking, kayaking. I can't ski, but many people like skiing, snowboarding. Many people on the weekend will go out. So very outdoorsy place. That is Oregon. Let's go back a little bit more to Linfield. So Linfield, why do people choose to come to Linfield? Well, as I mentioned, the small class size. So if you want a class size where you don't feel overwhelmed, where you can actually talk to the professor, go to office hours afterwards, chat with your colleagues in class and groups, this is actually a really good place for that because we are so small. At the same time, we do have a lot of programs, including we have a college or school of education where we are preparing teachers for elementary school, middle school, and high school. And so we have a strong education program. We also have, what else can we teach here? These are some of the other places, things that you can take classes in. So everything from business, we have a college of business, arts and sciences, biochemistry. If you really like to study biochemistry, we have that. So there's a lot of different courses that you can take, even though we are a small institution. And these are some of the courses that previous students had taken. Just to give you an example, we do have a wine program too. I'm not sure if anybody here is interested in studying wine, but where we are located in Oregon is in the famous wine region of the Willamette Valley. And so we do have a wine program that connects you with a lot of the different vineyards around here. All right, why else with Linfield? Well, in addition to all of those programs, we have something we call the English Language and Culture Program. This is an ESL pathway program where you can pair classes that will help you improve your English and knowledge of American culture with our degree seeking classes. So you could take 1 or 2 classes in ESL and combine them with, again, education courses, sociology courses, biochemistry courses. So you can combine them as you need it. Because of our small size, we also provide a lot of support for our students. For example, all of our international students have my number on WhatsApp or WeChat. So if there's an emergency, you can reach me at all hours of the day. We have Friendship Family Program that pairs you with families in the community. So you don't live with them, but you have the chance to go out on holidays, have dinner with them, go to pumpkin patches with them, go up to Portland with them. And we have a peer mentor program that matches you with current students prior to arrival. And those students help prepare you for your time here and also meet up with you during your time here to help connect you with resources and see how things are going. So there's a lot of support. We're small enough that we can even help you get to the dentist. Hopefully you never need to go to the dentist while you're here, but that is one of the things that we have done in the past. And the English language program I mentioned, this is some more information about it. They have their own support. So they have writing assistants, they have tutors, and they have community service opportunities with the writing with, where do they do? They do community service with our local school. So you could actually volunteer at our local middle school or high school for community service hours. You could volunteer at the Lucent Services, which works with refugees. We have a lot of community service opportunities, and our ELCP program helps you with that. And that's a 4-credit opportunity as well. I hope I'm not going too quick. I want to give you lots of time to ask questions, but please do tell me if I'm going too fast. Everyone good? All right. All right. Thank you. Eligibility. So if you get to the point you're like, I want to go to Oregon. I love trees. I love rain. I want to study wine or English. I want to go. What do I do next? Well, first, talk to your university. These are the eligibility requirements, which are the English requirements and the GPA requirements. For additional eligibility, though, please do talk to your institution. We can help you if your English requirements aren't, because normally we ask for an 80 TOEFL, but if they're anywhere above 45, we can help you because we can put you in some of our ELCP courses, which will give you the tools you need to succeed with your other courses. And this is where I usually get the most questions. So the costs. So studying in the United States is a bit more expensive than studying in Chile, from my understanding. As a student of an exchange partner, your tuition is waived. You do not have to pay any tuition to Linfield. You just pay what you would normally pay to your current university. But you do have to be responsible for cost of living. So normally cost of living is, we are a residential university, which means almost all of our students live on campus. So you'll live on campus in a dorm or an apartment. We have apartments as well if you're over 21 with American students, and you will be either eating at our on-campus residence hall food situation, or if you're over 21, you can go buy your own food and cook for yourself. But generally the cost of dorm housing, food, transportation, insurance, books is between, you should expect between $8,000 to $10,000 per semester. So that's the amount that you would need to have to support yourself while you are here, and the amount that you need to show to us for us to issue the documentation for the visa. So there's no tuition expenses. The only expenses there would be if you sign up for some classes that have fees, like scuba diving. We actually have a scuba diving course, but they have a fee for licensing that you would be responsible for. But other than that, tuition you don't pay for, not to us, not to Linfield, but you do have to have those funds to show that you will be able to pay for your housing, your insurance, your books, and your food, which is usually estimated between $8,000 to $10,000 per semester. All right, student life. So we've got academics. Beyond academics, part of the US study abroad experience is really student life. We are a residential campus, which means we have activities going on all the time. We have activities in the residence halls and apartments. We have student clubs that are always doing activities. We have academic departments that are doing activities. There's always a lot of stuff going on. We even have an outdoor recreation club that will do trips to go snowshoeing, to go skiing, to go hiking, to go kayaking. So if you want to get off campus, there's opportunities for that as well. Students have been involved in our fraternities and sorority life. Exchange students have been part of our tennis team and golf team and soccer team. So you could even participate in our competitive sports if this is something you're interested in. So to really have the American university experience, I recommend not only focusing on academics, which is important, but being involved in this campus life. And as you will be living on campus, you'll have many opportunities to do that. There's something really for everyone. They even had like a Pokemon Go club for a while, a Dungeons and Dragons club, so many different types of clubs. And if you don't find a club you like, you can actually start your own. And the support, as I mentioned, you have the support not only of the entire campus, but of our department specifically. I am dedicated international student advisor to all students. As I mentioned, I trust you. So all students get my phone number and are able to text me if there's an emergency. And our office helps with immigration advising, cultural advising, academic adjustment, navigating the community. But we also have peer mentors, friendship families, and all of the other campus resources. So learning support if you need tutoring, writing center. We have a health center on campus. So many things. Again, the benefit of a full residential experience. So that is a quick overview. I tried to keep it under 20 minutes to follow instructions of Linfield. I'm going to stop sharing now, if that's okay. And does anybody have any questions? You can put them in chat or you can ask.
Is there any question? Feel free to ask questions. No problem.
Here, I got that question.
Okay.
I didn't get it at all about the required level of English, and how to know if I have the minimum level required to go to Linfield.
And we're pretty easy with that. All that we require, if you haven't taken a test like a Duolingo or a TOEFL or an IELTS, we have a long list of test results. What we would ask for is something from your university attesting to your English level. And then the head of our English language program would do an interview with you to determine what classes would be the best fit. Our main concern is making sure that you're in classes that you will succeed at. So we use that testing to determine it. And if you don't have the testing, our ELCP head will do an interview with you. If you do have the test, then normally it's the equivalent of a 45 in the TOEFL to understand even our most basic courses. If you can talk to me, you're good though.
Thanks a lot. You're pretty nice.
Okay. I try not to be scary since I deal with immigration. I don't want to scare people. Any other questions about the classes we offer, about costs?
I do have a question. Well, hi, thank you for doing this for us. I do have a question. Do you guys have like any scholarship for international students in relation to housing or accommodations?
Unfortunately, because we provide the full tuition waiver, we do not have any additional scholarships for international students because the tuition waiver is worth around $22,000. So it's already pretty big. Students, and I would speak with your international programs department to see if there's anything specific in Chile that can be provided. What I can say is if you are over 21 when you are coming, you can live in an apartment. That's usually a little bit more expensive for the rent, but you don't pay as much for the food, unless you eat a lot and you like really expensive stuff. But many students usually, if they're buying their own food, will buy like very cheap stuff. And so they save money there. And sometimes some governments, I do not know if this is true for Chile, might have scholarships on their side to come. So you can check and see in your country if there's any type of scholarship or loans to help you with that. But Linfield, no, because we're providing that tuition waiver, there's no additional.
Got it.
That's the
Thank
one
you.
question I wish I always had a better answer for you guys, but sorry.
Thank you anyways.
Anything else about our courses? If anybody wants to teach education or volunteering in the community or what it's like to live in Oregon. We also do not get much snow here. I do, if in case anybody here loves snow, the weather here is very moderate. So we get a lot of rain in the winter, but we don't get a lot of snow. You have to go to the mountains for that. And it usually does not get really hot. So if you are someone that loves extreme temperatures, this is not a good place. If you're trying to stay away from super hot, super cold, this is a good place. Other than that, we are in a smaller town. So it's pretty safe to walk around in case you are someone who's concerned about safety. And it's about an hour drive, hour and a half drive, an hour if you're my husband driving, an hour and a half if you're me, to Portland, which is our closest big city, which is the biggest city in Oregon. And about 4 hours to Seattle.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay.
It's in relation to the courses that we can have.
Mhm.
Those ones that are in relation to education and, well, teaching English, how they work, how they are, organized, or which kind of courses we could take there.
So you are asking about the courses specifically for teaching specific English, correct?
Yeah.
So probably because I want to make sure I give you the best answer, the best thing for me to do would be send an email either to the international programs to send to you or send you an email directly with a list of the courses and how they are scheduled. Would that be okay? Because I don't want to give you incorrect information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And you can tell me, Teresa Gonzalo, if it's best for me to send it to you. But yeah, we have courses that prepare you depending on the age group that you're interested in teaching. And then also on the field. So if you're teaching English, we have some certification courses. But then if you were to say also be interested in teaching English and social studies, there's also that. But let me get that information and I can email it out to everyone. Or to whoever they tell me to. I see somebody has the hand raised. If you have your hand raised, feel free to jump in. Fernanda, did you have a question?
Oh, yes. Hello, I'm Fernanda. I'm studying nursing, and I have a question. Can I postulate for myself if my university said no for my ranking, for example? Like I have good grades, but I don't have the ranking.
Oh, for the nomination from your
Oh,
university?
yes, but I can postulate by myself.
So if you are coming as an exchange student applying for that tuition waiver, you do need to be nominated by our partner institution. If you were interested in coming directly to Linfield, that would be a separate process. And I can definitely give you information, but if you want to come as an exchange student and receive that tuition waiver, you do need to be nominated by our institution. And you would want to speak with Teresa Gonzalo about their process. I'm not going to speak to
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I see another hand. Diego?
Yes. What about the COVID normatives that are in the US?
Ah,
What do we
I did not speak about that, did I?
need to enter to the country? Because okay, yeah, I got the grades, the money, the English level, but what do we need to get into the country?
Okay. So they just changed that. So our institution actually requires a COVID vaccination. So we have been having courses in person for the last year. Courses are in person. We do require masks on campus, but we are requiring that all students and faculty and staff be either fully vaccinated, or if they apply for a medical or religious exemption and are approved, they do not need to be vaccinated, but they have to follow other protocols such as masking and testing. To enter the United States, as of November 8th, the US government is going to require full vaccination. That is not a Linfield requirement, that is a government requirement. There are exceptions if students are not able to obtain their vaccination in their home country, or if they have a medical severe reason for not being able to get the vaccination. But to enter the United States, you would need to apply for you would have to apply for the US visa. And then once the visa is approved, you would need to have the vaccination documentation to get onto the plane. And they're still figuring this out. You may still also have to have the test showing that you have not tested positive for COVID within 72 hours. But right now, it is open for Chileans to come. We are not Australia or New Zealand or Japan, where we have closed our borders completely. Yay. But there are more steps. But once you are on campus, other than seeing people with their masks, it is back to normal with, we are able to have programming in person, classes in person. That's good. Thank you for asking.
I do have like a similar question to Diego.
Okay.
Is there like any restriction of what vaccine are allowed in the US?
So the vaccines that are currently recognized are the Pfizer-BioNTech, the Moderna, and the Janssen. But for this requirement, again, this is a government requirement, not a Linfield requirement. Linfield, we were accepting everything recognized by the WHO. The government requirement, Biden put it out yesterday, so it's very new. And I've been reading it this morning. And if anybody has ever read government declarations, you know it takes a few reviews to figure out what they're trying to say. But it looks like they are building in recognition of WHO. If you are vaccinated with a vaccine that is recognized in your home country, the US plans to accept it. Does that make sense? Silence.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, they're building the policies now, but from my reading of that, if it is a WHO recognized, your government, the Chilean government accepts it, then the US government plans to accept it as well. Wow, I'm glad I read all that this morning. Thank you, everybody. You're testing my research skills and knowledge. Diego, do you have another question?
Yes, I do have another question.
Okay.
It is in relation if exists a scholarship or facilities to work when studying, to do both things on weekends or the afternoons, if there's.
Yes, and unfortunately, there is, with the J visa, you are not eligible to work off campus without a specific emergency authorization, or if it's something called academic training. Academic training is when you are doing an off-campus internship that is considered necessary for your studies. So our J students usually do not qualify for academic training. It would depend upon the program they're in. But most of the time, no. That is one thing the US government is very strict about. They do not allow international students to work off campus without permission. And we have been getting international students, none from Chile, but from other countries that have been able to enter the US just with the testing requirement, and they haven't really run into any issues. The biggest issue usually has been trying to get the visa appointment with the US consulates, but consulates are starting to increase their appointment availability. And so many students who had issues a few months ago are now able to get in case that's a concern other students have. But in regards to coming through the Customs and Border Patrol, knock on wood, fingers crossed, I haven't had any student say, oh my gosh, there were issues. So hopefully that continues to be so. But I did just want to give you that this is the current situation. I'm trying to think if there's anything else exciting that I should tell you that I forgot about, but I think I did cover most things. The one question about the education courses, I will send that information on to be forwarded. Is there anything else you guys would like me to research? I'm also happy if you think of something later to shoot me an email.
Yeah, I got the final question is something more specific.
Okay.
The TOEFL and IELTS levels that you showed. Which level corresponds if we are talking about, the Cambridge MCER, A1, A2, B1, and B2? Which one?
Let me see if we have that established. Again, if you can understand me speaking and I can understand you speaking, then you are good to meet that minimum. Most likely what would happen would just be our director of our ELCB program would just interview you to determine if she felt some of the courses would be helpful. Yeah, it doesn't look like we have a Cambridge equivalent set up. I'm giving you in the chat the testing that we do have already established the equivalency. Just because it's not listed there, again, does not mean you're not eligible. What would happen is if you're not listed there, our ELCP director would look over what you submitted, do her own review, determine where that aligns, or she would schedule an interview with you. And if you can understand me and I can understand you, we're pretty good. Can you access the link? Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a thumbs up. Yes, you can.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay, I think that's the last one.
Is there any question?
Nothing about what life is like
Okay.
living in Oregon?
I do have a question. Maybe it's a silly question, but what happens if I don't pass the course that I'm taking? Do I lose the credits or what happens?
If you do not pass the course that you are taking, we don't kick you out of the country if that's what you are concerned about. What does happen most likely is that the credits would not transfer back. Again, you would need to check with your home institution, but I would be very surprised if they would accept the credits for a course that you did not pass. So it'd be the same as if you didn't pass a course back. But we don't kick you out of the country, if that was your concern. You have to do worse stuff.
I
for
was
that.
just wondering.
Okay.
Got it.
I have had people ask me that with concern, and I say, no, you have to do worse things to get kicked out. Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to send them along to your institution. They can send them to me. I'm happy to answer, and don't ever feel stressed that you didn't ask a question and go, I'll never get the answer. We're here. We continue to be working. We just want to provide this information for you and help you make an educated decision.